Oh, good evening and welcome to Voices from the Village. My name is Louis LaFortune. I'm going to be hosting tonight along with Steve Pleich, who's sitting across from me, and Sandino Gomez. And I was a host for many years, and then as I slowly backed off the show, and Steve and Sandino came in and took over those duties and are doing a wonderful job. But tonight we'll all three be doing this hosting tonight. Tonight, our show is a remembrance celebration of the life of Charlie Phillips, the creator of Voices from the Village and executive producer, long time. And this show has been, in some form or other, on the air here on community television since 1999, I believe, was the first year.
16 years, yeah.
16 years. So, and of course, it's a memorial also because Charlie, unfortunately, passed away this July 4th, and we miss him dearly. We hope that you saw an obit in the paper about him, and we're going to talk about Charlie. That's what this show is about. It is a remembrance and a sort of a, a love letter to Charlie Phillips, whom we all really loved. Our main guest tonight, our major guest, is Betsy Phillips, and Betsy Phillips is Charlie's widow. And she is here on my right, and thank you so much for being here tonight, Betsy.
Thank you, Louis.
So yeah, why don't we just start out and just talk about Charlie?
Well, first thing I want to say is thank you, Louis and Steve and Sandino and Joe Grossman, all the people who have been hosts. There's been many of them. Thank you to the crew, John Maurer, Gail Williamson, Annie Newman, Ken Nobler in the control room, David Goldman back there, Brian Schulman, everyone who has worked with Charlie for so many years and supported him. Thank you to everyone who came out to his memorial service. I was overwhelmed by all the love and support, and I'm so glad that Charlie's spirit is still so strong in this community. I'd like for one of the cameras to get a picture of, get a close-up on a picture of Charlie's dad. And you can see where Charlie got his good looks. This is a picture of his dad, who was an engineer and helped to construct, was in charge of constructing what was then the largest land dam in the world at that time, and helped to save the Mississippi Delta. As good looking as he was, Charlie's mother was even more beautiful, and she was the soloist in every Episcopal church in Vicksburg, Mississippi. Charlie was very beautiful, beautiful in spirit, beautiful in his love for humanity. I was very happy to be found by Charlie Phillips, even though I didn't realize it at the time, and tried to get away from Charlie, but there's no getting away from Charlie, and everybody knows that. And he was really devoted to Voices from the Village, to community TV, and to the community as a whole. And I'm so glad that everyone came tonight to help celebrate Charlie's life.
Well, thanks. Thank you. Let me just ask the booth, the control room, to put up those photos. We have a photo, I think it's number 7, of Charlie's parents. If you could put that on screen.
Oh, there it is.
And
No, that's
then
Charlie and his mother.
Charlie and his mother. Oh, Charlie and his parents. Okay. And then we have another one, number 8, of, I've been told, there it is.
Hey, look at that.
So here you are dancing with Charlie.
That was about, maybe 3 years ago at a friend's 90th birthday party.
Uh-huh. And next, number 9. And there it is.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was while we were dancing at our wedding, and Tom Conant took that photo.
And
And you were married in 1999?
We were married in 1999. Voices from the Village started in January 1998, so I met Charlie about 9 months into the show. I had
Is that
no
right?
idea. He kept it such a secret. Yes.
So when you were married, you didn't know that he was a producer?
I knew that he did a show, but I thought it was just Thursday afternoon sort of thing. I didn't know it was 24/7. I found that out after the wedding.
The double life for Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie.
Yeah, well, as you said, he did that all, it was his,
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
the most important thing in his life, next to you, of course.
Yep.
But yeah, he was so dedicated to this idea of citizen journalism, which I think we call it today.
Yeah.
And just passionately believed that by informing the public that we could change the world. And I know that's why I joined this show, because I believe that also, and I'm sure you gentlemen.
Absolutely.
I couldn't agree more that Charlie was always willing to, he always had his own topics and his own causes, but I always appreciated that he would hear out any ideas that I had for shows and guests I had. And it was so great to feel like, even though he was the producer and it was definitely his show, it was always easy to work with him and to make a show that I wanted to make happen. Like, that was a wonderful thing,
And for me, Charlie always seemed to be very much on top of the topic of the day. He
Yeah.
was current. He wouldn't
Yeah.
say, well, let's do a show on something that happened 5 years ago or the movement of this or that and anything. He'd say, hey, we need to do a show about this because a proposition just passed in California, or this issue is really hot in town. We need to get some guests and that kind of thing. So I was always very grateful for the opportunity to kind of articulate and flesh out some of those ideas because they were what the community was talking about right at that time. So it made Voices, so vibrant, and really the signature, live program in CTV and here in Santa Cruz County.
All right, yeah, it was always current, not 5 years ago, not 5 months
No.
ago, 5 days ago.
Exactly
That's
right,
what the
yeah.
show was about,
Yeah. Yeah.
about what was happening right now, or about to happen. Let's go back to those days, those storied days of
Those curling days of yesteryear.
You remember the Lone Ranger
Yes, I'm just thinking about
lead
that.
in?
Yeah.
We have a clip. We have a clip from a very early show number 8.
Wow.
And this was in 19. Wait, let's do this first. First, we have maybe this is the one. Okay, it's a 90. Let me start over again. This is a 1998 show here in the studio, hosted by Joe Grossman, who was the host at that time. Charlie's in this shot, and also Valerie Corral of Wham. And Charlie, by the way, was a member of Wham and a longtime supporter of that, the Women's Alliance for Medical Marijuana here in Santa Cruz, which is probably known to these viewers. So here's the show. We just want to show you this so you can see Charlie in action on the show. This is clip number 5.
Oh yeah, we got the whole village behind us here.
Barely got me. Charlie called this morning and asked.
It actually looks great. Yeah, is this live? Memorize.
Yes, this is live. Call
No, this is
in.
the bars. It's a rolling.
You
Don't
might
worry,
get
it's a
a
rolling.
mysterious call from San Francisco.
But I mean, is it going to be aired later on?
Yeah, it'll be aired. It'll be aired.
Hey, baby,
It'll
what
be
are you
aired.
doing?
You know, people will try
It's being aired right now.
aired, and it'll be shown again, of
Oh,
course.
good. Okay. Oh, okay.
We hopefully will.
Thank you for joining us here at Voices from the Village here, and my co-host, without whom I would not be here today, Charlie Phillip. Glad to have you here today. Why don't we start off very directly with the issue of what is happening legally.
All we're here and to educate the public. That's what we need, education.
That's what we do.
You know,
We always hear this, education, not prisons.
after facing, I think that a lot of people feel that after facing death and illness, that the federal government isn't such a formidable adversary.
Thank you very much, Valerie Corral, and everyone, Sylvan Knight, Kate Wells, Andrea Tischler,
Thank you.
co-host Charlie Phillips, for joining us here at Voices from the Village, and we look forward to seeing our viewers again. Thank you.
So Voices from the Village, back in the day, 1998, show number 8 with Joe Grossman, the original host, and Charlie Phillips, you saw him with his very stylish hairdo. And and I recognized Valerie Corral from Wham, and Andrea, and I don't remember her last name, but she ran the marijuana safe house hotel thingy.
Compassion Flower in Bed, Bud, and Breakfast. Yeah.
Well,
Yes,
not that I ever stayed there.
On
I
Laurel
recognize
Street.
that coat. Charlie was a fashion plate back then, and he was. I just to share a little story. When I started doing voices, Charlie would always give me fashion advice when I came in, because I'd be wearing something that completely clashed with the studio colors or completely blended it out or in. So he'd say, you have to wear something that's going to be this and that. So I'd always bring 3 or 4 different things so I could make sure that Charlie was satisfied with what I was, their production value. You need to make it right, and that even that kind of attention to detail is what made it so much fun to be around Charlie and to be around the show.
Well, Charlie had a history here with television production, but I know he also produced TV in Boulder, right, Colorado?
He worked for Channel 12 in Boulder, Colorado. I believe he worked as a cameraman there. I don't know a lot about what he did. That was before I knew him.
Okay. And, and I remember him telling me that he had actually done, professional, he was paid to do that work. And so, when he came in and when he talked about television production, I could tell it was coming from a place of real knowledge, that he had done this, professionally. So it was a pleasure to listen to him, and he would explain things like that shirt doesn't work.
That's right.
You better put a jacket on over it, because we can't have all that.
Or even cues about how to speak so it broadcasts through the microphone properly, or just things like that I wouldn't have thought about, having not done any television before. I was fortunate enough to come on board and be a host with the rest of you. But he would always understand that and then explain it to you. So he was coming from a position of thorough knowledge of how the production values work. So producer and just not name only.
And happy to teach what he knew. That was a
happy
real
to share.
gift.
Absolutely.
That was a gift.
He was also very proud of the fact that he took part in film festivals there, and that he walked Gerard Depardieu to the stage.
Is that right?
And that he smoked a joint with Ted Kesey.
All right, well, there you go. That's more than I can say.
Not surprised.
It's a claim to fame.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's both of you are so right. I mean, the way, coming in to help first sub for Uncle Louie and then kind of taking over as he transitioned outwards. I mean, it was just wonderful to have someone that was so easy to work with, and like Steve said, was really there every step of the way to just, I think, really help empower me as a host and make me feel comfortable in the role and more thinking like a producer or someone that could help guide or create a whole show in and of itself, I'm not just a pretty face. Like, I started to think about these things.
There's more to it.
And I got to do some really good topics that I really cared about. And what was wonderful was, like, Charlie cared about them too. So, we would be talking about everything, and he would always support those kind of social justice causes that I was really into and that would attracted me to the show in the first place. Because I was definitely kind of checking out what Uncle Louie did before that happened.
Yeah. Oh, we got a
It
call.
looks like we do have a phone call here, folks. So why don't I just hit the answer button and see what happens? Hey, this is community television, Voices from the Village. You're live on the air.
Okay, this is Joe Bowen over in Biloxi, Mississippi.
Hey, Joe.
And I'm calling about Charlie Phillips. He's my best friend.
Oh, fabulous. Thank you so much for calling, Joe. We're here with Betsy Phillips. My name is Sandino Gomez, and then I have two fellow co-hosts here. We're all kind of members of the team producing the Voices from the Village show, Steve Pleich and Louis LaFortune. So
Hey, Joe.
you're here with the four of us. We can all hear you. They can say hi.
Hey, how are you, Joe?
Yeah. Hey, okay. Where is Ken there too? I think I talked to Ken one time about a year ago.
He's in the control room.
We got Ken in the control room making all the magic happen, along with Brian. Absolutely.
Oh, he's a musician in the crowd.
Yeah, he is.
Yep. Yep.
Well, you know, Charlie was a musician too. He could do a lot. He was a master of a lot of things, and I knew Charlie over 50 years. We went to college together, University of Southern Mississippi.
Oh, wow.
And, I used to visit him and I met his mother back in Vicksburg, where he was from, in Vicksburg. And I'm from Jackson, Mississippi, but I live on the Mississippi coast, on the Gulf Coast now, down at the Riviera of the South.
I'll be damned, yeah.
Wow. What years was that? I'm just curious. Like, when did you go to college with Charlie?
University of Southern Mississippi at Hattiesburg, where we went to school. And of course, Charlie and I palled around in Jackson for many years, and he set up a lot of stuff. I've been in the insurance business all those years. I ran an insurance agency in Oregon and full lines insurance agency. But Charlie had a securities license. He sold securities and all that stuff. And of course, we hung around the bars and everything. And I played music on the side. He set me up with a lot of musical jobs. You may have heard of Silkies. That was kind of something they tried back in the late 60s and early 70s.
Silkies?
Kind of like Shakey's. Silkies was the name of it. I think they came out of St. Louis or somewhere. You know, they set up a bar, you come in and sing and buy sandwiches and whatever you want, you know, and then they came up with Shakey's Pizza Parlor after that. So we just kind of, and I played music at all these places, and Charlie was kind of he was kind of an organizer.
Even then, huh? Yeah.
Hi, Joe.
Listen,
whoops.
I think Charlie set me up with a lot of to sell insurance. You know, I'd meet people and I'd sell them car insurance or life insurance or I'd write boat insurance. Charlie, listen, he was a promoter now, and y'all know that well because he did a lot for Voices of the Village. He did a lot for y'all too, I'm sure.
No question.
A little bit.
Absolutely.
Hi, Joe. It's Ken. I think we spoke a couple of times, once before or twice before. Yeah.
Yes, I talked to you because I came over and spent 2-3 days with Charlie and Betsy several years ago, and then they came down here, and when they got married, they came down here on the. I had a beach house down here at Ocean Springs, and they came down for a few days, and we had a big party. That was it must have been 2003 or maybe 2001. I forgot exactly when it was. Time flies; it gets away.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
Yeah, you took us, Joe, you took us to hear that Dixieland music, you remember?
Oh, yeah, that was in Jackson, and in one of the clubs. That was the New Bourbon Street Jazz Society. We played Dixieland music, and I still sing songs in some of those places in the karaoke and piano bars. And
You and Charlie must have been the team.
Yeah.
well,
Sounds like it.
He got me lined up with one song. They did this song, New York, New York. That's Sinatra's, the old Blue Eyes tune, you know. And I sang that one, and that was what we used to do. I've got this smartphone. I might have one of those videos on here, but y'all probably don't have time for that. But Charlie was a promoter. Now listen, I tell you what, he should have been. He had made a good lawyer too because he could set up all this stuff, and he was smart. And he knew he was smarter than the average person. I'm talking about IQ wise. So I used to give those damn IQ tests. I was going to be a psychiatrist. I studied pre-med in college, and Charlie would score real high on these Wechsel Adult Intelligence Scales and the Stanford Binet and all these tests. And he was smart even when we were barely out of our teens, 25 maybe, 24. But Charlie was real intelligent too, and that damn I shouldn't use any bad language on there. I just said, damn, they did that and gone with the wind, didn't they? But
We'll let you slide, you're from Mississippi, it's okay.
We'll let the occasional zinger fly. That's quite all right. Yeah.
It's casual.
we get called rednecks and a lot of other stuff. I won't use any adjectives, but I think California. I remember some what is that? Haight Ashcroft Street down there.
Haight Ashbury. Yeah.
That's where it all started. But maybe Betsy will tell you sometime where we went to one of these bars where they had everything imaginable. All just it wasn't Haight Ashcraft. It was some other place down there, and these people were something else. But I enjoyed it. But and y'all have some beautiful theaters there in Santa Cruz. I'm gonna visit back over there again sometime. But anyway, Charlie and I, we did. Charlie wrote some stuff too. He could write a sonnet, and he wrote some prose and stuff like that. But I don't know whether he ever got anything published. But he knew a lot of stuff. And what else? I guess what else do you want to know? Just we went to college together.
What years did you go to college together? I'm just curious. What years were those?
Let's see, we were at University of Southern Mississippi in 61 and 62.
Wow.
And I did graduate work after that, and then went on back to Jackson to the University Medical Center. And I was studying clinical psychology, and I was going to get going to medical school and do a residence in psychiatry, but I dropped out of it because I got married. So sometimes that changes things, you
Certainly.
know. And listen, let me ask you this. I pulled up something on this smartphone. I watched about 10 videos that you all have on the Voices from the Village. It was about homeless people and stuff. You know, the ones that y'all got a number.
Yeah.
But will this be on a video where I can see it on about the Charlie's Memorial on a smartphone, or would I have to go to a computer to do that?
You mean this program that we're doing right now?
Yeah, is it on streaming? Or will y'all be on streaming?
Yeah, actually, if you go to communitytv.org right now, you should be able to stream it live. I'm not sure if you can do it through your phone, but definitely through an internet-connected computer that's got like a video player. But you can try on your phone. It certainly might work. Just go to
I looked at something earlier, and y'all were talking about how you Charlie helped a lot of people with the homeless.
Yes, he did. No question.
Yes, he did.
And I looked at one of those earlier. So yeah, Betsy told me earlier about communitytv.org. Is that it?
Yeah. So you can watch the live stream of this show at communitytv.org, and then you were probably looking at some of the dozens, if not hundreds, of Voices from the Village show that are online. Our man Ken, our producer here, has been posting them for a while now. So there's definitely a lot of old Voices from the Village show that you can watch anytime on on YouTube if you just look for Ken Nobler's channel.
After the show tonight, I will email you the link to tonight's show.
Beautiful.
So you can watch it there.
Yep.
And then once you're watching them, you can usually just wait till it runs through, and it might just start the next video. So you'll be able to see all a year's worth of shows.
You could text message that to me. I don't know if that'd be as good as email, but I've got an email address too.
Well, actually, I've got your email because I communicated with you through the YouTube comment.
Well, make sure. Tell me what email address you have. I've got another one now, and I'll see if that's the same one.
Oh, I don't know that it was a link in YouTube. When you emailed me your comment, I simply replied.
So I think we've got it, Joe.
We'll get a hold of you, Joe. Don't worry. Absolutely. After the show.
Well, it's Joe G simplify@gmail.com, but that old.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Thank you, Joe.
That's perfect. That's perfect. I'll send you a link to the video.
So nice. And next time, I went to the studio where you all are. Charlie took me down there when I was there 5 or 6 years ago, and y'all really do a great job. And but I wish I could get a link to look at all these shows because I enjoy that.
I will send it to you.
But listen, Charlie was quite a guy. He wrote a lot of stuff, and he never tried to get anything published. But good night of mine, he might have been another Beck or Steinbeck or something, you know.
He was the Steinbeck of community TV.
Yeah, he was. Longtime producer here, an award-winning producer at that too. Multiple award-winning producer here. Voices from the Village show. enjoying the elite 150-plus show. That's probably well over 200 by now, you know, and certainly won the producer of the year as well as show of the year several times. So yeah, Charlie was an artist here at community television.
And you know the guy that played the sheriff on Dukes of Hazzard, James Best, he just died, by the way, also.
Oh, well.
But,
Nice.
you remember James Best? He played the sheriff on the Dukes of Hazzard.
Not all Roscoe.
Roscoe, that's him. Well, see, he lived in Jackson for years. And Charlie and I knew him in Jackson. And
You actually knew the guy?
Yeah, this guy, James Best. He just died last week also.
Wow, you knew Roscoe from the Dukes of Hazzard. Charlie did too?
Yeah.
Oh, listen, he was a genius. That guy, he set up a theater here in Jackson, Mississippi, the little theater, and, you know, a lot of people got their start. I think Judy Garland and just a whole ton of people just walked into a studio and they just hired them, right? But, you know, that's where they got their start, in little theaters, just like y'all have in Santa Cruz. People have talent, and you never know who they are till you see what they can do.
That's the truth.
But this guy, Charlie, knew James Best real well, just like I did. And we used to all get together all the time over at this person's house. And then, of course, he went on back to, he came on out to Los Angeles and did that series. And he played Charlie Noon on Gunsmoke also, James Best did, with James Arness. You know, James Best played Charlie Noon on Gunsmoke. He played that. If you ever see that, you'll enjoy it, because he was a very talented actor, which you all know, I'm sure.
Yeah.
James Best. But anyway, Charlie could get in with people. I'm telling you, he had charisma about him that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
He could do it. Now,
Any friend of Charlie's, certainly, yeah.
That darn Parkinson's can drag anybody down. That's what he had. And, of course, there's so many forms of dementia, good Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. There's 100 of them around, and I hope I don't get one of them. I hope none of us do.
Well, we hope that's true as well.
What's beautiful about Charlie was never let it stop him. I mean, right till the very end, he was producing a show with the support of his wonderful wife, St. Betsy, and I mean, it's I mean, he never let that stop him by any means, and let's hope for the best for all of us. Do you have any final thoughts about Charlie, Joe? I mean, like, maybe you could share a particularly wild, wacky memory or something. One of your favorite memories of Charlie that you thought might be appropriate, because it sounds like you guys had a lot of fun together. But one of the more appropriate ones for our audiences, if you want to.
Well, just some of the stuff we did in that Silkies. Some of that we'd get up on the microphone and tell jokes and all that stuff, and I'd embarrass him because I got a line of gab a mile long, and I'm bad about using bad language. But you know, you can get away with that now, but you couldn't back in those days, and they'd cut the mic off, but old Charlie'd go cut it back on, and we just keep on with it. But I would like to say this. Please. Betsy could never receive enough what she did for Charlie. She really saved his life. I mean, she was with him. You could never repay her enough for what she did to keep Charlie going.
Amen, brother.
I'm just telling you, you could never praise her enough. So I mean, I really appreciate what she did for Charlie. Of course, I was her husband, but I'm just saying. And I hadn't talked. And what's so crazy? I just talked to him on the phone about 2 weeks ago, but he couldn't talk. I could just hear him trying to say something. And Betsy was saying he hears what you're saying, but he can't talk. So he had lost his voice. I think a lot of his communication thing, but he never lost his mind. He knew what I was saying, and he could. And Betsy said he was responding. He would grin and stuff like that. Now he must have died right after, maybe 4 or 5 days after that. I guess I can't.
On July 4th, Joe.
Yeah, not a coincidence that he died on a day that celebrates freedom.
Yeah.
Certainly. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Joe, very much for all your recollections and kind words for Charlie.
Thank you, Joe.
I appreciate. Yeah, I appreciate y'all letting me go in there, and I'm going to pull this up on Voices of the Village.
Great.
And bless all of you, and y'all are great people. I think the world of you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Talk to you later.
Thank you
Bye
for calling in, please. Yeah.
I wanted to ask
Thank you.
Betsy, I didn't realize that Charlie was in the South in the 60s. Was he politically active then in the movement, all the struggles they had down there with integration and that kind of thing? Do you recall, did he ever talk about that?
I know that he was mean, a liberal person. I don't think he was involved with those movements. I think he'd already started to move towards this side of the country because he couldn't take the atmosphere in the South.
Yeah.
Not a
So
surprise.
yeah, I'm not real, I'm not real up to date on him in his early years. I pretty much know where he grew up, in Vicksburg, Mississippi, and I got to visit that town when we were on our honeymoon, and we got to stay with one of his friends who had done so well in real estate that he practically owned the whole town, and so we stayed in a mansion on the lake, and he drove us all around Vicksburg, telling us all the history of the big battle there.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I spent a little bit of time in Sardis, and a little bit of time in Jackson, and a little bit of time in on Beale Street in Tennessee, where the music comes out of every door, and the smoke comes out of every door, and the jazz comes out of every door, and the food is great. Yeah, it was quite a trip.
Well, I just wondered because so Charlie's had such a great passion for social and economic and racial justice. I was wondering kind of where that well sprang from.
I believe it came from his mother.
Really?
Yeah, he was very connected with his mother, and she was very much a social activist type of person at heart. More the spiritual type, but that's where he got the deep feeling.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I just want to point out that our friend Joe called Community TV, and if you're watching this show tonight live, July something, help me out, guys.
July, today? It's the 12th.
July 12th. Well then, see right there, you can call in.
That's the beauty of live television. We figure out the date eventually.
425-8848, extension 30. Come on, guys, you got to back me up here.
That's
You're
right.
supposed to,
Well, Louis looked at his watch.
I looked at my watch. I had to check the date.
Someone's in charge here. The saddest part is now that I look down at this little control center, it's right there.
Yeah,
It's right
yeah.
there. It's right there.
Everything you need is right
Sunday,
in front of
July
you.
12th.
Exactly
Look
right.
Call us up, please. The point of that whole ridiculousness is please call us, share your memories of Charlie. We want to hear from you too. Charlie would want it that way, I think. More people calling in, more folks just saying what's up. So please.
Yeah,
if you have
if you
something
knew
to
him,
say.
please call us and tell us what you remember about Charlie. We were on this social justice theme here just a moment
Yeah,
ago,
good segue.
and one of the very early shows, we're going to show another clip right now. One of the very early shows that Voices from the Village did was in 1999 at the demonstrations against the WTO, the World Trade Organization, in Seattle. I think it was in November of '99. It was late in the year.
November 30th,
Okay, thank you.
1999.
Charlie
So you argued
Phillips
with numbers.
and his co-host, we're going to call him on this one. They both traveled to Seattle to cover that. As citizen journalists, they're not affiliated with community television, yes, but with no.
But they did have official press passes, so they were able to get into all the meetings. They were very proud
okay.
of that, yeah.
Okay, so there they were, and if you recall, in 1999, these huge protests, and this was like the first real big demonstration against the whole anti-globalization movement, and that was the one that got everyone all excited. That was the beginning of this movement, which continues today, in the form of Occupy and other things like that. So we have a clip from that show, and you're going to see Charlie on the street in Seattle in his reporter garb. He's got a hat. He always had great hats. And then also Joe Grossman is on the street, and they both have mics, and they're describing what's happening, and there's a lot of action here. So let's see that clip right now, please.
We'll be back right after this.
Pardon?
We'll be back right after this.
We're here at the Seattle Community College protest, the WTOs, on the day of the 2nd of December. Charlie Phillips with Voices from the Village.
Say again, sir?
Charles Phillips with Voices from the Village, Channel 71 Community TV, Santa Cruz.
Oh.
So you feel justice is not being served in labor because of the WTO, right?
Right. I mean, the WTO uses labor to make all its profits. Who does the work? You know.
What have you seen of the action at the protest?
I took part of a nonviolent protest that was in an intersection with about 150 to 200 people.
Joe Grossman from Voices of the Village here in Seattle in the midst of the protest. Things have calmed down for a few minutes here. There has been tear gas used today. The protesters are holding the line. The police are behind him. We'll be covering the events here today.
Would I like to say something? Well, I think the WTO is the most undemocratic institution that has ever been created. An international undemocratic institution. And it's up to us to do something about it.
Hi. Charlie, look out. Whole world. Voices from the Village, Channel 71 Community TV, here at the site of the WTO protest.
The whole world is watching! The whole world is watching! The whole world is watching!
Get that man! Get that man!
The police are advancing. The police are advancing without cause.
We've been it was unprovoked, this tear gas, and it's been in the midst of the crowd. There's only civil disobedience here. Channel 71, Voices from the Village, Charlie Phillips.
Powerful images from the streets of Seattle, brought to us by Charlie Phillips, Joe Grossman, and the PJ. PJ, what was it?
PJ Group.
PJ
did the camera work.
Right. Great. Well, Charlie, was that sort of your inspiration to get started with the Voices from the Village?
Yes, it was, and Voices from the Village had been active prior to '99, but it was out there and they wanted to make people aware of the truth, really what was going on among the corporations and how they were. Jim Hightower was there, the whole Canadian musical group, activist group was there, and it was an exciting time. It was a trying time. It gave you the truth, which is, a lot of people don't want to listen to the truth, of course, but it was a time that very thoughtful and provocative, and we were able in the final run to shut the corporate trust, WTO, down, and it made people think it was a time of honesty and people marching. As Bill Oates said, wasn't going to church anymore. He wasn't going to march anymore.
Yeah.
But he did.
That was an absolutely historic protest, and I mean, I think people remember that even to this day as sort of the launching of the anti-globalization or corporate globalization movement here in the States, and sort of people had started to see the disastrous effects of NAFTA, and to think here's this whole organization expanding and promoting that on a global level, I think really activated a lot of people in the States, and just appreciate that you've done that for so long, Charlie, that you've been really bringing voices to the voiceless and helping to produce Voices from the Village, because it's given me the opportunity to really enjoy this show. So I just want to say good job and thank you, Charlie.
We'll continue.
I hope so.
With all the good work, these people I have at the table, Louis, Steve, and yourself, Sandino, we'll all make it happen. And we
Hear, hear.
we do accept donations.
That's the truth.
Hear that,
That's
folks?
the truth.
There you go.
CommunityTV.org. Just
Right.
go there and
Right.
PayPal away a donation, please.
You know, what strikes me about that clip is the absolute fearlessness of his reporting, but also how proud he was of community TV, Voices, Santa Cruz. It just comes through. He's proud of his roots and where he is and who he's representing. So it's very moving, you know, that he felt that strongly about it.
I already said what I was going to say. I mean, you saw my opinion.
Okay.
I remember the hat. I remember when I bought him that hat, and fit him perfectly. I remember that coat. And I remember when he called me and told me that they had got footage of the police firing tear gas on the protesters, and that they had used it on the television news in Seattle that
really?
evening.
Okay.
Yeah. And that they hadn't got paid anything for it.
Let's
But they
put,
do accept donations.
let's put it this way. Charlie wasn't in it for the money.
There you
Yeah.
go, right.
Although he may
No.
have worked in the industry at some point. I mean, Charlie did this show really for the love of the show and for the justice causes that he and I think we all believed in and believe in, continue to.
And thank you to Community TV for
Yeah.
being here and, you know,
Such a
giving
great
him
vehicle.
life.
Mhm.
You know, it was what kept him going, all of us here.
Yeah, and this is, another, and of course, as you said, another passion of Charlie's was the idea, just the very idea of community television, community anything, you know, but particularly this idea of giving a voice, putting a microphone in front of people who normally weren't able to speak.
A voice to the voiceless, as Sandino
Yes.
so aptly.
Right. And I remember reading an interview with Charlie many years ago, I think it was before I even knew him, and it was about the program, and somebody asked him, well, what does Voices from the Village, what village? And he said, well, the global village.
Yeah, there you go.
Right? Of course, because we're all in this together. It was this concept that we are one thing. We
looks like we have a friend.
Can we get a
Hey, hi friend.
Hi, friends.
We got a camera on our guest here. We have someone at our studio mic. So
Hi, I'm Giselle, and I am so glad to be able to speak. And when I first met Charlie, it was started here in 2007, and I started with my own political justice with the prison system, and I was on his show at that time. And then I collaborated with him in a couple shows for stopping the light brown apple moth spraying, which we won, you know, yahoo! And we really kept on that for a couple years, which was awesome. And then I got to actually experience a side of Charlie that was so touching. 3 years ago, we had a company picnic, and I was performing a song, one of my songs, Don't Doubt It, real positive song. And Charlie was out there dancing, and it was amazing to see the moves. He had such life and spark in him, and I was so touched. And then I was also downtown doing a concert later that year, and he was walking by with Bessie, and he started dancing again. That man had a lot of moves. You must have had a lot of fun, Bessie, dancing with this guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And every time I would come then to supervise the show or do whatever and meet him, he would go, are you dancing? Are you doing some dancing? And I saw the glimmer in his eye. And I really love that part of remembering him. So thank you. And thank you for taking care of him so well, Bessie.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're here.
thank you, Giselle.
Thank you, Giselle. Yeah.
Thank you, Giselle.
If you'd like to share something, of course, feel free to call us at area code 831-425-8848. If the robot picks up, just hit extension 30, and you're in there. You're in there. So please call us up and share your memories as well.
So we've seen some clips from the old days and a recent one that you hosted, Sandino.
Yeah, that was, I think, end of
2014?
Yeah, just the end of this year.
Yeah, not too long ago. And we saw, you know, Charlie unfortunately suffered from Parkinson's his whole adult life, as far as I know. And you saw a later stage of it there. But, you know, in spite of the fact that he was, as with all Parkinson's patients, was, you know, was not in total control of his physical movement, you could hear that his brain was still totally there, and he never lost that. And that was one of the things I really most admired about him. You know, Parkinson's is just, it's constant, and you're always debilitated. It must be such a struggle to live with that. And this did not slow him down. He produced this show and did whatever in the community. He was at this event or that event. He was there. He showed up and he did the stuff. It was as if, you know, he had complete physical health. And it's quite apparent that he did not, but he never let that stop him.
I know you just bring this up, and it just really made me laugh the other day. You know, Charlie was persistent, and I'll admit I'm not the best host sometimes, and I don't return my calls.
It ain't so.
I don't return my calls as quick as I should sometimes. So Charlie would keep calling me, and he would leave messages, and it was just, you know, clear that he was struggling to talk sometimes, and there were better days and worse days. But he would leave these messages, and I would sometimes understand everything, sometimes I wouldn't. And there would just be these like, immigration, this Sunday. And I would just get like 4 or 5 words out of there. But I would know, we have a show this Sunday, and I need to be there. The subject's immigration. And it was just so, it was so Charlie. I mean, I went back and listened to some of these. I still have many of them actually on my old phone. And it was just really, after the memorial service, I just went back and listened to some of those and kind of just laughed. And I'd played one aloud for a friend one time, and he was just like, what the heck? Like, that's my producer. He's telling me what the show topic is this week. And it was just hilarious. You know, he didn't let it stop him. It's so true. It's so true.
No, right, yeah. We're going to, as we've said, the show ran for 16 years. Well, it's not ending.
No. It's just the first 16 years.
We will continue. Yeah. We will continue. But Charlie produced many, many shows and received many awards. So we're going to show some of these right now. Let's see. Let's start with, I think, number 14 is a Lifetime Achievement Award from Community Television.
Yeah.
For producing the show for so many years. The next one is Program of the Year. And Charlie, as the executive producer of this show, he won this award several times.
Yeah, that's 2007's award.
6 times.
6 times.
6 times Program of the Year.
6 times, yeah. That was, yes. I was part of the show at that time, and it was just such an honor to work with. Again, he had a vision, he had standards of professionalism, and he made sure that the shows got done in a very professional manner. There's let's see, a portrait of him at number 16.
There you go.
There he is, as a younger man.
Handsome devil.
Yes, and then producer, let's go to 17. That's the 150 Plus Club.
Right.
And programs produced here at Community TV.
You think about that, that's 2011, so I mean, we're sitting here 2015, that's 4 more years of shows.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I would not be surprised if that man's over 200 at this point.
Well, I'm sure he's
And yours
over
are good with
300
numbers,
because this was 150 plus starting in about 2005. And so there were 3 years we were out of town. And so there were all the shows that he did from 1998 to about 2004. And he was doing shows. He was doing shows, 4 shows a month then. So Charlie, so in 1 year, how many is that? 52 in a year. So that was 150 before he even left town, and then he did another 150 and more. Charlie did a lot of shows.
Yeah.
Too many to count.
Too many. Like the stars in the sky.
We have another shot here, it's another certificate. I don't know what it is, but let's put it up, number 18. There it is, Talk Show Voices from the Village, and I'm not sure exactly what the award is, but numerous awards, a long and storied history.
Best Public Affairs Program in 2008. Look at that.
And then let's go to the next one, which is a statement that Charlie wrote.
Oh, yeah.
About WHAM, and WHAM, again, is the Women's Alliance for Medical Marijuana, founded by Valerie Corral. here in Santa Cruz. And Charlie was a patient, or a member rather, of the collective, and also a very strong supporter of that. So I'm just going to read this aloud. Charlie Phillips, my Parkinson's was so bad I could barely walk or talk. Valerie Corral, was working with my wife and I to find something to help with my symptoms. And one day she suggested that I try THCA. When my wife gave it to me for the first time, in 15 minutes I sat right up and said, let's get out of here. Now I have the energy to talk, swim, walk, and play bingo. I'm getting stronger every day, and I'm enjoying life more. Wham makes my life better. I am Wham. And I know Charlie featured that issue on this show more than once. I remember doing a show with Ben Rice about, who's a local attorney, who was Wham's attorney. And I did a show with him when we were doing the Bill of Rights series.
Oh, really?
Which is how I started. We did the whole Bill of Rights, one amendment per week for 10 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a great show. I learned a lot. And Ben Rice, of course, was that, and he talked about it from a legal point of view, why Wham was a constitutional sort of thing.
You know, I don't know whether we're going to have time to get to it, but I did want to mention there was a wonderful memorial for Charlie at Calvary Episcopal on this last Thursday. An outpouring of sympathy and kind words and testimonials, likes of which I don't think I've seen in Santa Cruz for a long period of time, filled the chapel at Calvary. Had a wonderful reception afterwards where people were able to deliver testimonials. One of the folks that was there was our good friend John Malkin, and I know that Ken had taped a testimonial from John, and I was hoping we'd get a chance to hear from John, who is a very eloquent and articulate guy, and his words for Charlie would be, welcome.
Thank you so much.
It's like you host this program or something.
It's the first thing on my list, and we just went right past it. So let's run that. The John Malkin talk. This was filmed outside of Calvary Episcopal at the memorial.
Charlie, I missed you already. I met Charlie in 1989, right when I moved to Santa Cruz, and we were both involved in the Christic Action Team, my introduction to social change organizing here in Santa Cruz. And since then, we've both stayed deeply involved in social justice work and doing lots of different organizing and art and video and music and all kinds of stuff. And we've stayed close, and I love Charlie. And through all of it, ups and downs and difficulties, and seeing some of the changes we would have liked to have seen over 25 years or more, still really joyful celebration of life, and it's something I'm really grateful to Charlie for, always reminding me and us reminding each other to laugh at all of it and to really enjoy all of the precious, beautiful moments that occur all the time. And Charlie, even while he was suffering with different physical ailments, he was still laughing and telling jokes and stories and reflecting on the beauty of life. I'm grateful to know Charlie Phillips.
The words of John Malkin, who you can hear every Wednesday night on Free Radio Santa
Betsy
Cruz.
knows, John actually did a reading during the memorial itself, and I didn't realize that John and Charlie have been close over the years. Betsy, is that right?
Yes, yeah, John and Charlie were very close, and it was a beautiful reading, a beautiful service.
Yeah, John, I'm also friends with John, and John told me that Charlie was the first guy that he really got to be friends with when,
Is that right?
when he came to Santa Cruz.
Huh.
Oh, wow.
So they go way back.
And he was on, I think it was the second show that Charlie did with Joe Grossman. They did a show on the Police Review Board.
Right.
I'll be darned.
And yeah,
John helped start
John
that, yeah.
Malkin. Mhm.
Okay. I'm being told
Shout
we
out
ha-
John Malkin.
Yeah.
Yes, oh yeah.
And Allison and Bodie. Whole gang.
I'm being told we have about 2 minutes left, so I'm gonna. 1.5. 1.5. So let's just
Last
have
words.
final thoughts.
Oh. My thoughts are that I was honored, very flattered to be asked to be a host here. And the thing that I've learned over time is that the Voices is a family. Betsy mentioned all the names earlier. I was going to mention them, and you'll see them as they roll the credits. It's very much a family, and that's what Charlie gave us. He gave us a sense of family, a case of belonging, a very close personal relationship. And in my life, that's rare. So for me, as long as there is a Voices, there will always be a Charlie Phillips.
Here, here, well said. I mean, just thank you for the opportunity, Charlie. Betsy, really, just, I don't joke when I say St. Betsy. Everything you did to help him do this show brought so much joy to my life, and I know everyone else is here, all their lives too. So really is just such a gift, and one that I plan on keeping moving forward, and I'm glad to say that we, tentatively say we have a collective formed that we are now going to have more Voices from the Village coming at you. So stay tuned, definitely.
I'm going to let you have the last word, Betsy, but I'd just like to say that Charlie was one of the great people I've ever known, who his vision, his persistence, and everything about him was just, quality. Was just a fine human being. And he invited me to produce or to host this show back in the day. He didn't really know me, and I think he took Joe Grossman's recommendation that I would be good at it, and it turned out to work out for everyone. So it was a great opportunity for me to do something that meant something to me and to be part of this whole thing. So, Charlie, we will miss you, and Betsy.
Presente.
Please.
Charlie saved my life on more than one occasion. Charlie always led with the heart. And as Charlie would say, love, love, love. Love, love, love.
Okay, we're going to go out with a couple of shots here of a photo of Charlie. So let's put that on the screen. And thank you all for joining us tonight on Voices from the Village. The show is not ending, even though we've lost our guiding light, but we will continue on. We will continue on.
Charlie, we miss you. We'll see you on the other side.